Blog Talk Radio.
Out at foggy midfield.
Welcome to NBS Central Startem Sitem Show, hosted by True X the Sports Junkie and J Franchise, where we'll give our weekly fantasy sports predictions and analysis. Now, let's start the show.
Yeah, baby, what's good, what's good? Welcome to the Startem Sitem Show on Nothing But Sports Radio, NBS Central that is. Of course, I'm your host, True X, the Sports Junkie. This is our fantasy football show. We're going to help you out with setting up your league, telling you who you put a pick, and we're going to get it popping today. Of course, I got the homie in the building from San Jose, my guy. Yo, what up, homie?
Yo, what's good, man? Glad to do the Startem Sitem Show tonight. Normally we do it at 7:00, 9 down where True's at, but today we're doing on the special time today. So I'm ready.
Okay. With that being said, I think we have somebody else on here right now.
Yeah, we got the homie Big Mike. What's up?
702's here. 702 is here.
Oh,
yes, sir. I'm not even going to lie. I heard a text wake me up at 9:30 in the morning, about 2 minutes ago. And she was all like, we're doing the show. And I called right away. Yes, sir. I'm ready to keep this going. Let's talk some fantasy football, y'all.
Well, we definitely appreciate you for getting up. I know you were asleep, but I'm glad you got up, man. Before we even get the show started, I know this is the fantasy football show, man, but I'm a man of my word. I got to give a shout-out to my man Yvonne, shout-out to my man Antonio. My man DC, man, Daniel Cormier got knocked out yesterday by Steve Miracles. And I got to give him his props right now. So shout out to my boys from Croatia and the new heavyweight champion, Steve Merchant. With that being said, now, we'll talk about that on the Nothing But Sports Show on Tuesday night. But with that being said, guys, okay, I had some people come up to me this week, and they were like, well, True, what kind of draft? Because people are setting up their drafts. A lot of people got drafted until September 1st. That's a lot of people draft Labor Day weekend. People are asking me, True, how should the draft be? What's a better way, auction or snake? So we're going to help people with your draft setups real quick, and then we'll get into the players. I'll let these two gentlemen, along with myself, tell you what we think. So, guys, which one would you rather, auction or snake for your league?
Go ahead, Mike.
I'll go ahead, go first. For me, I've always I grew up on snake. That's the easiest way. But once you do auctions, there's really no going back from the fairness, the strategy of auction drafts. That's what you become a true fantasy football player once you learn how to do an auction draft. And I'm going to be honest, I still don't know how. 12-team leagues are easier, but 16-team, boy, that's the toughest league. That's up there with being the toughest league that I'm in. I have two really tough leagues that I'm in, the MBS league, where we have 16 teams auction. That's a tough league because of how spread out the rosters are, how thin the rosters are. You really got to know how to use your money. And that's the biggest thing. I like auction the most though, because there's no luck in it really. In a snake draft, it's luck. there's a lot of luck in that. What pick do you have? Who, where, who's going to be in front of you? Maybe you might get the player that you've been looking at for a couple rounds. The strategy with that is that, okay, I might have to reach here, or you just have to know that. You have to know if you need to reach for this player right here, or if you'll be able to wait a little bit later. In that essence, you have to know your league. You have to know the owners in your league. You have to know the numbers, the scoring system, to see if one of your sleepers is going to be a target on somebody else's radar too. You just have to know that kind of stuff for snake drafts. But with auction, it just takes more skill because of managing that budget. You can't go and spend almost all your money on one player, because then you're sitting around for a long time and missing out on players that you can fill your roster with. So you have to come up with a strategy. Either you do go and spend big bucks on a superstar, or maybe you wait. I know True's brother Vic, well, he waits every year. Every year he's sitting there with the most cash, after like an hour or two in the draft. He's always there with the most cash. I think Antonio does that as well, Yvonne's brother. I've never really been a fan of that strategy. It just doesn't seem to bring in the players that I would want. But that is a strategy. I think auction is the most fair and the best form of draft, though.
Yeah, I definitely would prefer an auction draft over a snake, because with an auction draft, compared to a snake, every player is up for grabs, because on a snake you're gonna have to go by the order. So if if you're seventh in the order in your snake draft, there's no way you're going to be able to select those top 3 running backs that you want. But for an auction draft, it doesn't even matter. It's about, are you willing to spend that money for that certain individual? And that's why I like auction. And with auction is important that you have to be there for the draft also. For a snake, you could miss the draft and it'll auto select you a decent team. With an auction draft, you could be in huge trouble if you do actually miss a draft. And it's all about strategizing, and it's a chess game. You look at certain individuals of what their move's going to be, so you can make that next move also. So there's many strategies you could go into an auction draft compared to a snake draft, and that's why I prefer an auction draft, because like I said, every player is up for grabs. It doesn't even matter about the order. So I definitely like auction drafts. I've been doing it for the last 7 years, and I do take part of snake drafts, but auction drafts is definitely crucial for me. The only thing that I hate about an auction draft is it just takes too damn long, 3 to 4 hours. But I feel like it's worth it. But some people do complain about it, but I don't mind, because I know some people like me, True, Mike, we stay all the way to the end. We stay all the way to the very last dollar. But there's some people they just select who they want and they're out. But I prefer auction drafts, though.
I think you hit it on the nail real quick. On the point where you say that in an auction draft, everybody's available to you. Everybody.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm gonna start with. Okay, so if you're new to fantasy, because the guy that asked me about this, he's fairly new to fantasy. I would tell him, if it was me, I would just want you to throw me into the water, so to speak. I want to play an auction draft, because I do think auction is more fair, definitely more fair for what Kill just said. You actually have a shot at anybody that you want. It's not like the luck of the draw. I got the first pick, so I got Saquon Barkley, who's on a lot of people's number one pick. If you don't have that number one pick, there's a good chance you're not getting Saquon. I don't have to say it's a good chance. You're not getting Saquon Barkley or Alvin Kamara. If you don't have a high pick, you're not getting Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, or Christian McCaffrey. They'll be gone. But in auction, you can get any player that you want. That's what makes it better. Is it longer? Yes. But if you're a true fantasy nut like I am, I'm like you said, I'm not getting out of that draft until I draft every single one of my players. And to me, that's very key to fantasy and having success in fantasy, because you can literally take a sleeper with your very last pick, and it can mean something. It might not mean that in that first game, but by week 12, it can mean so much. I've seen people take Alvin Kamara late in the draft, his rookie season, and it turned out to be a great thing. Every year there's sleepers. So I would definitely tell anybody that's out there, don't just pick your starting lineup and think to yourself, oh, that's good. Nah, go all the way through the draft regardless if it's snake or auction. Now, I will say this for all my snake people out there. I don't mind snake if the draft is live. And I'm not a snake guy, but if it's a live draft and we're in person, everybody's there, I'm okay with a snake draft. It's quick, especially if you're at a restaurant and you're eating with your friends. Snake is cool with me. Outside of that, it got to be auction all the way. I'm through and through auction. And I think that's really when you become a real pro at fantasy, when you are playing auction instead of snake. All right. Here's another debate my man was at. That's a debate. Another question my man asked me, what site do y'all like to play on? Not what site that MBS League is on, because we know that. But there's so many sites that people play fantasy football on. A lot of people like Yahoo. A lot of people like NFL.com. A lot of people like ESPN. That's more the popular one. Is there a site that I'm not naming that you guys may like? But what's your favorite? I think that those three are the ones that I've played on and most people play on. But which one do you guys like and why?
ESPN's where I go to, is my go-to. Yahoo I messed with for a couple of years. Didn't really like it at all. I think that's my least favorite. NFL.com is pretty simple. I haven't seen the update yet, but ESPN's the best one, and they have a new update that did things and made things a little bit better on the app.
Okay, we got Mike back on. So Mike, go ahead, continue where you left off before you got cut off.
I was pretty much finished anyway. Like I said, Yahoo didn't really love that league. Little different, especially with the way they have things set up. It's all preference. I can't really explain it. I'm not real good at explaining a visual type thing like that. But Yahoo and NFL are a little bit different, and I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen the NFL.com fantasy app. I know that got updated. ESPN app got updated, and that made it a lot better in my opinion. And just made another step. I roll with ESPN.
So when I started off with fantasy football, I originally started with Yahoo. Um, yeah. Then once I finally I linked up with X, and then we formed the MBS brand. That's when we jumped to ESPN. And I definitely prefer ESPN over Yahoo. I don't know. It's like Mike said. It's basically off of preference what you like. I like Yahoo because they give you you know how you did on the drafts. Like if you lost or not, then they'll give you like a little report on it. Um, that's what I like about Yahoo. I think ESPN they're making some improvements and adjustments. I like what they added with your projections after the draft, where you rank that after the draft and where you're currently ranked now. I like that also. I think CBS is nice also. CBS is really made for dynasty leagues, keeper leagues. I think that's what CBS is known for. They got it's basically the same thing like Yahoo, but I think CBS is just more advanced. But if you're asking me, somebody that's starting off with fantasy, I prefer ESPN because ESPN is just easy to use, and it ain't hard, and the app works really well. And mostly a lot of people I know that plays fantasy football, even fantasy basketball, do use ESPN. So I prefer ESPN, but like I said, it's based off of preference, what you like. ESPN, Yahoo, CBS, NFL.com. I don't think any of them you could go wrong with that.
Okay. For me, I'm like Mike. It's not even close for me. ESPN all the way. The updates are actually crazy. I love the updates on certain aspects. One thing I don't like that ESPN did this year, that they didn't have in prior years, is the home page. I like the old home page better on the league than the new one. I do like that they added the final predictions, and they updated as far as who they think has the best draft, who they think is actually going to be winning the league. If they look at it right now, before trades happen, before waiver wire pickups happen, I do like that aspect. But ESPN, to me, overall, just going to pick up a player of the waivers, the format is cleaner, clearer, more precise. Overall, just the experience in ESPN, it's like really don't have that many glitches. I've seen in Yahoo a lot of glitches where they get the scoring system wrong many times. One day you think that you won the league or you won a game, you come back the very next day and you lost the game because they messed up on the scoring system. It's happened in ESPN as well. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but it seems to happen more on Yahoo's end. A lot of people like this trade. Now, I'm not saying it's bad, and you could even set it up like that on ESPN, but Yahoo automatically sets up where you don't just score like 100 fantasy points. It's like 100.1, or it'll be like 100.3 or 4, depending on how much yardage they got or whatnot. ESPN is just basically 100 points. I like that about ESPN. Me. Some people say, well, if you do it the other way like Yahoo does, you're not gonna have no ties. Me, I don't care about no ties. That's very seldom that you get a tie in fantasy football. I'm not gonna say it never happens. Of course it happens, but for the most part, it doesn't happen. So if you're trying to set up the best possible league, and I'm gonna let the guys get their insight real quick. If to me, you're trying to set up the best possible league in fantasy, you're gonna go auction, you're gonna go ESPN, and you're gonna go. For me, I like more deeper leagues, but I think 14 is a really good number where you gotta know what you know, you gotta know what you're doing, but yet everybody doesn't have a stacked team. And then 16 and all of them, you really gotta know what you're doing, and the teams are very thin. So I think 14 is that magic number with ESPN and an auction draft. That's the best possible setup you can have for a fantasy league. What you guys think?
I like 12 team leagues.
Okay.
I've never played a 14 team league. For some reason, everybody always makes a jump from 10, 12 to 16. There's no 14 for me. Just never ended up on that. Probably because of the odd, you divide it by two, odd number standings, that kind of thing. But I definitely prefer 12-team leagues. 10-team leagues, I only like one of those because it's a different kind of league that I'm in. It's probably my most difficult league. This league, you have 3 starting running backs, 4 wide receiver / tight end slots. So no tight end position. It's wide receiver / or tight end for those slots. So 3 starting running backs, 4 wide receiver / tight end spots, and that's a 10-team league, no trades. It's a difficult league, half PPR, and also 10 points per rushing touchdown. 10 points per rushing touchdown. So running backs are extremely valuable. 3 starting running backs. 3 starting running backs, first of all, that's what you have to find. And also 10 points per rushing touchdown. So that makes, first, usually 80% of the picks on the first round are running backs. 6 to 8 of the first round picks are running backs. Julio, guys like Julio, Odell, DeAndre Hopkins, they can be found in the second round. Sometimes even in the middle of the second round because of how valuable running backs are. Half PPR as well. So wide receivers and tight ends, they're devalued. Guys like James White and Tariq Cohen, they're a little bit devalued because they don't have touchdown value, and it's only half PPR. This is it's an interesting league, and that's why it's better. If it was a 12-team league, it would be impossible. It would be awful. But 10 teams is right. So for a specialty league like that, if you have a specialty roster or something like that, maybe 10 team is the way to go. But I think the standard 12-team league is the most is the best to go with.
Oh, and I'm glad Mike brought that up before Kill goes. I want to add to that. I said 14, which I play in a few leagues like that. But I like standard flex option, no OP. That's my preference. I like the regular quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, tight ends, flex. And I don't even mind a defensive player. 1 defensive player is cool with me. Defense and a kicker, I'm with that. I think that's the best scenario that you can have. But you have to have IR, people. I hate playing in leagues.
Yes.
No IR. You have to have an IR.
I failed. In our league because I didn't put in IR slots. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see it, but I hate it. Oh my God!
I was trying to do it after the draft. I'm like, no way, I can't do it. I'll have to tinker with it, see if I can fix that. Possibly, delete the whole draft and then add all the players back if it's that big of a deal to everybody. I think it's a big deal, so we'll see. We'll see what's up with that. But yeah, no IR slots in the NBA Snake League. Right now.
Yo, what you think, boss?
I prefer a 16-team league. I like 16 teams leagues. I just feel like it's more competitive. It makes you actually think more, and with the competition out there, man, it's 16 teams, and with 12 teams, everybody's gonna have a decent team. With 16 teams, that's not an automatic that everybody's gonna have a decent team. I definitely wouldn't prefer no 10-team leagues. I actually do have a 10-team league, and that's because it was a live draft, and I just felt like I just wanted that live draft experience. So that's the only 10-team league. And with a 10-team league, everybody's going to have a good team, and everybody has, a really great chance of going that far. With a 12 team, it's like the most popular and most common thing when it comes to fantasy owners. If you took a vote right now, they'll probably say 12 teams, but I definitely prefer a 16 team with with the flex position. Definitely. I know some leagues they do play OP. One thing, if you ever try to do a league with OPs, just make sure it's not 14 or 16 teams, because if it does, there's going to be some teams not going to be able to get even two quarterbacks because there's some people out there in leagues like that are so greedy. They'll draft all the quarterbacks and they'll use them as trade bait, knowing that the other team is so desperate. Because I experienced that because True did that to me one time. So I'll just leave it at that. But I definitely prefer 16 teams league. Flex position is the most common for me.
Man, that's any 16 team league though. People will be hoarding quarterbacks.
Yeah, and that's what I want to get to before we go to our main topics as far as players and whatnot. So shout out to my man that asked me that question. God, I forgot his man. What's his first name? Mr. Bowles. I forgot your name, boss man. He actually used to work at my school. He actually reached out to me. He was like, dude, I checked out your stuff on YouTube. I just really need help with this stuff. So shout out to you, man. I hope we helped you out. It always matters. Look at your rule settings. Look at everything. Because some leagues, quarterbacks score 4 when they throw a touchdown. Some is 6. I know the MBS league is 6. Mike just told you 10 points for a rushing touchdown. You better look at those things when you're going to draft. And let me add just one more thing. PPR. If I play in your league, it got to be PPR. I don't play that nonsense. It got to be PPR for me. I don't like non-PPR leagues, but that's just me. So, Mr. Bowles, I hope I helped you out, brother, because I know you're going to tune into the YouTube channel to listen to this show. So, there you have it. All right, guys.
And always ask more questions. We're always open to more questions. We know you're gonna have more throughout this fantasy season. So be sure to keep asking us questions, and we'll be answering them on this show.
Definitely. All right, guys. This right now is the time, preseason. We find out gems. We find people that can truly help us in fantasy. Who has impressed y'all in the preseason that now you're thinking about drafting them because you've seen a couple of games from them, and now they're getting on your radar? And then who's some guys that, you're like, you know what, maybe I thought they were going to be good, or I thought they were going to be the starter, but you know what, I think I'm going to hold off on him in the draft. Give me some guys that you see in the preseason that you like right now and that you don't like.
True. This is a terrible question because anybody that bases preseason off of that needs to go home. I guess
why. Go ahead.
there's a couple players. I'm not gonna lie. Preseason does have some value regarding that. The player that I've had on my radar was James Washington. Been a big fan of him and the targets that he might get coming up with Antonio Brown gone. Dante Moncrief as his competition at the wide receiver spot. The fact that the Steelers just draft wide receivers and develop them really well. The James Washington had a really big first game. Didn't see what he did yesterday. I missed out on seeing him and Mason Rudolph. I'd have to look at that, but I was very impressed with the first game. He made a really nice over-the-shoulder catch. Mason Rudolph threw it nice as well. I'm looking forward to James Washington. Player that was on my radar, I would say we haven't seen much of the Raiders' offense itself, but Josh Jacobs is not a guy that I want on my radar. They're using all 3 running backs, Jalen Richard, DeAndre Washington. They all look good. And Josh Jacobs, I haven't seen him have a huge role yet. Obviously, like I said, it's preseason. You can't really judge it judge that. I just haven't been impressed. That's all.
Okay. And we'll definitely talk about that in a second. I'm going to just give you a heads up. We'll talk about that in a second. But, Kia, go ahead.
A player that I do have on the radar is you look at what's his name? I think he goes by Darwin Thompson from the Chiefs. I know he's undersized, but he fits really well in that system that Kansas City runs, and I think he could. I know he's fighting between as a backup with right now Carlos Hyde, but I think he possibly could actually share the load with somebody like with Damian Williams also. So I definitely like him. One player that I also like is what's his name from the Colts? Oh, Devin Funchess. I think he would be great for possibly at a flex position right now. So Devin Funchess. And the last guy, I know he hasn't played, but I know for a fact he's on people's radar, and his draft stock has actually went up now, and he hasn't even played. And I'm talking about Josh Gordon. He's already reinstated. So so I could see a lot of people keying in on him and going in on him. And you look at the Patriots wide receiving core, it looks pretty good right now, man. You got Julian Edelman there. You got Demaryius Thomas, who's going through an injury right now, which I think he'll be fine. Then you got Josh Gordon. He's already reinstated. I know True's not high on the rookie N'Keal Harry, but I think New England got some nice receiving core, and they could be a really dangerous team. But I like Josh Gordon as far fantasy players right now. That stock has definitely risen. And a stock that has gone down, which I would actually stay away from, is Deontay Foreman from the Colts. He was actually recently acquired by the Colts. The Texans let him go. I think his draft stock is actually going to go down. So those are the guys that I think my guys that are high on and the ones that I'm low on.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with the guy that I'm low on because Mike brought him up and I thought I was going to be the only one. But Josh Jacobs. Oh, man. I actually drafted him in the first draft I was in with Kia in that Facebook Live league that he's talking about. And I just don't see it. I don't see it. I want to see it. I think, I liked him at Alabama. And then you always got to think Alabama running back, for the most part, not that they don't pan out, but they're just not as good as they were when they were at Alabama. So Josh Jacobs is somebody I was really high on coming out of Alabama, and now I'm kind of, taking my steps back and like, nah, I don't know about that so much. Now, here's a guy that I'm not going to say I'm high on, but at one point I was not even going to draft him. Like, it wasn't even like on my mind to draft this guy. And I hate going off of, like Mike said, the preseason, but I remember watching Victor Cruz in the preseason and saying to myself, oh, this guy's going to be a stud. Victor Cruz going to be a stud. So you got to pay attention because you could get somebody in the back end that could turn out to be really good. But now I'm interested. I'm not going to say I would still draft him, but I think that I'm at least interested to see that maybe I could use him as a backup quarterback, and that's Lamar Jackson. I gave Lamar Jackson the hardest time on this show, but after watching him against the Packers and then Aaron Rodgers and him having a conversation about little detailed things, I'm not. I may draft him on the back end. If he goes for cheap in the MBS League $1, I'm with that. Anything more than that, no, I'm out still. But Lamar Jackson is somebody that actually impressed me against the Packers the other night. So I'm going to say he's the guy that, I'm interested to see what's going to happen. All right. Well, since Keo brought it up, I'll wait for the topic I was going to because everybody's been asking me about this as well. Let's talk about the Josh Gordon situation. Josh Gordon has been reinstated by the NFL. I think that hurts a couple of the receiving core, like a N'Keal Harry. This could hurt his cause as far as moving forward. When you have Josh Gordon, Demaryius Thomas is healthy, Julian Edelman, I think those are clearly the three starters. What do y'all think about the Josh Gordon situation? Do you think he's draftable, or would you stay away from Josh Gordon? Let's start with Mike.
Well, I actually drafted him in one league before he was reinstated, last pick of the draft. And then when I heard that he was reinstated, I was right on it. Thank God that I was looking at my phone while I was driving. But I saw that news, and I went right to the MBS Snake League and picked him up, dropped N'Keal Harry. I wasn't completely sold on N'Keal Harry from the jump because he's a rookie, and for a rookie to earn Tom Brady's trust and get a lot of targets right from the jump in his first year, that would take a transcendent talent, and I don't think N'Keal Harry's that. It's not like he's not Julio Jones. He's not DeAndre Hopkins. He would he wasn't. He's not going to jump in there as a freak of nature and just steal targets because he's just not that type of guy. It's going to take a few games, maybe almost a whole season to earn the trust of Tom Brady. So I wasn't super high on N'Keal Harry from the jump. Thought he might be able to produce something later in the season. Julian Edelman, he's still Tom Brady's slot guy. He and James White, those are his dink and dunk guys, and they'll get a lot of YAC. But Josh Gordon was the man when Tom Brady and him were playing together. Josh Gordon was putting up numbers. Averaged 11 yards per attempt, I believe it was. When Tom Brady was averaging 11 yards per attempt when he was targeting Josh Gordon last season, Josh Gordon will put up numbers if he's on the field. He will be the number one guy. He's just good. When I say transcendent talent, that's Josh Gordon right there. He's ridiculous. He was the numbers that he was putting up with the Cleveland Browns, with the quarterback situations that he was given, with guys like Tyrod Taylor throwing to him, and being coached by the likes of Hugh Jackson. I don't remember who was before Hugh Jackson. Josh Gordon was putting up numbers. He in his first 3 seasons he's top 5. I know he's top 5 in his first 3 seasons of total receiving yards of all time. So Josh Gordon will be on my radar. He is being drafted in the middle rounds, and he will put up the most numbers for any Patriots wide receiver.
Yeah. Do we have Q on the line?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Josh Gordon, man. When he was with the Patriots last season before he left, 40 receptions, 720 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think he had around 68 targets. I think he's a viable option. Guys like Philip Dorsett, Cameron Meredith, N'Keal Harry, those guys are all dealing with injuries right now. And with Gronkowski no longer there, that makes him a huge primary option. Even Julian Edelman right now is dealing with some injuries right now, and I think Josh Gordon, this is a win. This is a win for him. I think I think he just needs to stay out of trouble, and I think he'll be fine, man. And I think he's going to make a huge impact. He already has the chemistry with Tom Brady already. I think he basically one of the most versatile receivers out there, man. And I think Josh Gordon is a really high pick. Are you asking me if he's going to be a wide receiver one on the fantasy owners team? No, I'll take him a wide receiver two. I'll take him as a flex. But I think he's a great option, and like I said, I think his draft stock definitely has gone up for this, and I'm happy for him, man. Good to see Josh Gordon back.
All right. Anybody that's been tuning into this show or knows me knows that I've been the biggest Josh Gordon fan since Cleveland. And I'm here to tell y'all, when I saw him get picked up, I never went to pick him up in any of my leagues. Any of them. And Kia knows this. Mike knows that. I know I love Josh Gordon. Everybody knows. Everybody, shout out to everybody in my man Cubit's league. They know how much I like Josh. I've been drafting Josh Gordon, me or Duke, every year since he's been in Cleveland. I'm just done, man. At this point, man, I hope that it works out for him. I'm not here to bash him or anything like that. And it may work out for fantasy owners. Maybe I should have stuck around maybe one more year. But it's too inconsistent, things that I just can't trust. You got somebody there like Demaryius Thomas. You got N'Keal Harry, who you spun that pick on. You got Julian Edelman. I just can't trust Josh Gordon. So for me, I'm staying away from him. Back in the day, I would have traded you for him, Mike. I would have wanted him on my team, but I just don't see the value that everybody else sees in him now. He's let so many fantasy owners down over the past few years. I'm completely staying away from him. Even if he's in the draft, I won't spend no money on him. If I did, which I won't, I'm telling you I won't, it wouldn't be more than $1. And it would just solely be for trade bait purposes. It would not be for me because I want him on my team.
Maybe
what was that?
Maybe you're saying that so we can get them, and you could capitalize on the opportunity to get them and make us suffer.
No, y'all just said y'all like him, so y'all gonna draft him. Y'all not gonna listen to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I could have picked him up. I didn't want him in no league. I'm not even talking about the leagues that me and Mike did, because I know Mike jumped on him quick. But I could have went get him in some other leagues, and I was like, no, I'm in 8 leagues, and I'm like, no, I'm not getting that dude in any league. It's not worth it. It's not worth me dropping somebody that I can rely on for somebody I can't rely on. And
we will see on September 1st.
We will see. Okay, so Mike brought it up earlier, and anybody that plays fantasy knows that running back is probably, no matter what league you're in, running back is probably the most valuable position. So this week, we already know, like I told you, the Saquon Barkleys of the world, the Alvin Kamara's of the world, the Christian McCaffreys, the Zeke Elliott when he's playing. But here's what I want to know, guys. I'm going to throw out a team, and I want you to tell the fantasy owners if they can grab one running back from that team, who should it be and why? Whether you think they're a starter now, whether you think they'll be a starter long term, but you think that that's the guy, because fantasy owners know how to draft the Gurleys of the world, the Le'Veon Bells. But when I get to a team, let me see, like the 49ers, do I believe in Tevin Coleman? Do I think it's Jaron McKinnon? Do I think it's Matt Breida? Who do y'all think? So we'll just go down the list, and you tell the people why and who should be the person that you want from this team. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to start with the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody's heard Damian Williams? But they did get Carlos Hyde, and he'll just tell you, like Darwin Thompson. Who should be the running back that the Kansas City Chiefs should roll with in your eyes?
Are you asking who? Are you asking who should I be drafting?
Yeah, who would you draft out of the guys that's on there?
I have no shares in Carlos Hyde. I think that guy is a very talented running back. He's always injured though. He's had fumbling issues, which is a no-go for Andy Reid. Although he did have LaShawn McCoy, one of the biggest fumblers out there. I've heard conflicting reports about Damian Williams and Carlos Hyde, who's the man right now. Who does Andy Reid like? I don't know. Damian Williams hasn't gotten the vote of confidence in Andy Reid, and I'm afraid of his durability because he's never had a huge amount of carries. But we know the durability of Carlos Hyde isn't there either. I think it might just be a timeshare eventually. They might just split carries. I don't think either one of those guys is going to be a full workup force. But Damian Williams did get a contract, did get a signing this year. Or this off season with the vote of confidence from the Chiefs, so I would think that he'd be more of the guy. But for both players, honestly, I'm staying away from them. I would love to if I knew who was the man, then of course I want the Chiefs running back. But since I don't really know, and I can only guess that it's Damian Williams right now, I'm staying away from them and have no shares in either one of those guys. Keo?
Out of those three guys, as of right now, I'm rolling with Damian Williams. He has shown that he has the workload to prove, especially when Kareem Hunt went out, and he put on some good, decent numbers while he was while they didn't have Kareem Hunt, and I think he has a chance to prove himself that he could be an every down back, which I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Carlos Hyde is pretty much going to be eventually out of that picture. Darwin Thompson, I think he's going to step in. He's going to share a good, nicer workload with Damian Williams. But right now, I see Damian Williams right now. And he plays pretty well with Mahomes with that offense while Hunt was gone. So I'm rolling with Williams.
Yeah, I'm with y'all as far as right now. If I'm going to draft one, it's going to be Damian Williams. But I'll tell you this, down the line, later on this year, if Damian Williams doesn't work out, I don't like Carlos Hyde or Darwin Thompson. I think it's going to be Darrell Williams that ends up getting a starting job later on in the league year if Damian Williams doesn't work out for whatever reason. I will say this, the reason why I would go with Damian Williams as well is because the offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, likes Damian Williams. He said Damian Williams was his guy. He's the one guy that came out and did give the vote of confidence. Andy Reid didn't do it, but Eric Bieniemy did. So I'm going to go with Damian Williams. If I had to draft one, I'm kind of like Mike in a sense. I probably would stay away from all of them because I just don't want to waste my draft pick. And I think Damian Williams would go really, not say high, but he'll go, top 4 rounds, I think, especially in a snake draft. And I just think that's too high for a guy that has a lot of uncertainty as far as if he's going to be the guy the entire season. But he's the guy right now that you want to draft if you're going to draft for one of them. Okay, this is going to be a good one, I think, because I've seen it myself. People debating it. You can get one Patriots running back. Who is it?
Oh, man. I've been struggling with this. I'm going to be honest. This last week, I've been a huge fan of James White all season, and his ADP because he's going in the 6th round. He's going in the 6th, 7th round. Sometimes as early as the 5th. And I was loving that ADP because James White was a top 10 running back last year in PPR formats, and nobody is nobody seems to remember that. Nobody seems to trust the Patriots and their running back committee, and the fact that James White will continue to get targets. I'll try and make it quick, but I do have a lot on this. James White will see his same amount of targets, I think. I've heard that Sony Michel is getting work in the passing game, which is a little bit concerning. And he's obviously going to get more rushing attempts.
He had 200 and Sony Michel had 206, 208 last season. I think that if he's healthy, that number is going to jump up to that number will jump up to the 230, 240, 250 range. If he gets hurt, Damian Harris will probably take more of that workhorse role and get those carries. So between Sony Michel and Damian Harris, I think that those two guys will combine for about will combine for about 250, and then the rest goes to James White. He'll still get about 100, 120 carries, as well as all that receiving work. Rob Gronkowski isn't there anymore, and those are targets for James White and the running backs and Julian Edelman to take up. When I talked about that 3 starting running back league, I think I'm going for Sony Michel. I have both of those guys ranked, like I think they're ranked 17th and 18th on my list, on my running back list. And in that league, I'm taking Sony Michel because of that goal line mark. That's what I need. And James White won't get as many rushing touchdowns as Sony Michel. So I'm taking Sony Michel in that league. But in regular PPR formats, I'm taking James White for that safe RB2 work.
So it's telling me if it's PPR type of league, I'm rolling with James White. I'm staying away from Sony Michel. One thing about the Patriots through the past seasons, as far as their running back goes, you don't know who's gonna be the guy that workhorse for that game as far as the running back goes. There's has been, numerous times in games when the Patriots played where they had different type of stars show up for the running backs, from Danny Woodhead, Rex Burkhead to Brandon Bolden, Lawrence Maroney, and the list continues. And I just feel this is a risky pick for me to take Sony Michel. I would prefer to stay away from him. But if there's one guy that I trust that I would go after, and you're talking about PPR type of leagues, I'm going with James White. He's proved it last season. He's proven it on the big stage, especially in the Super Bowl. And with Gronkowski's not there, I think Brady is going to utilize James White really well throughout the season. And I think he's going to be really huge in PPR type of leagues. I mean, he ain't no 15 to 20 carry type of back, but I'll take him as far as fantasy perspective goes, and for PPR, man. And I like James White. I think he could give me an average of 10 to 12 points every single game, and I'll be fine with 10 or 11. So I'm rolling with James White in this one.
Okay. So for me, this is a tricky question, like Mike said, because those guys are tremendous. I see that people say that Damian Harris is going to come in and get 2 touches because they drafted him and they are high on him. Let me just say it. If it all boiled down to, I had to take one of them out of James White and Sony Michel, because Damian Harris is not in the picture to me. I don't see how people even just throwing Sony Michel under the bus like, I don't trust him. If there was one sure guarantee person that I trust in this situation, it is Sony Michel. Okay, why do I trust him so much? Keo just brought up on the biggest stage what James White did. I don't take nothing from James White, because, I mean, he caught 15 balls against the Chargers, I think for like 94 yards and a touchdown. So, and he's a running back. So, he's going to get touched on the backfield. That's awesome. And he's draftable. I'm not saying you don't draft him. But if I can draft one guy off the Patriots running back, out of the Patriots backfield, it's Sony Michel. Let me just throw these numbers out for y'all. In the 3 games last 2 seasons, he played in 3. Well, the Patriots had the home field left in the first round, and they played the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Rams. Playoff Super Bowl. Tony Michel, 336 rushing yards in those 3 games and 6 touchdowns. If the proof's not in the pudding that they're going to run this guy, I'm going to repeat that. 336 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns in all those games. He scored in every last one of those games. He scored 3 touchdowns against the Chargers, 2 against the Chiefs, and 1 against the Rams. And that's the only touchdown in the Rams game. It was from Sony Michel. Over 100 yards average, around 4.8 if you add up everything. So he's getting clearly 4 points. It was over 5 in 2 of them and 4 on 1. So he's close to that 5 range. So I'm saying 4.8, 4.9. I did the math. I didn't really do the math. That's incredible on the biggest stage. Sony Michel, I think, is being undervalued in the draft. But if it's one guy I'm taking Sony Michel. All right, let's move on. Now, that's another good one. I've heard both sides of the equation kind of similar to what we just talked about. The Bears situation. Who you drafted?
That's tough too. Dang, I like these teams that you're bringing up. As of right now, Tariq Cohen is above David Montgomery on my list. I've been told do not sleep on David Montgomery. He's rising on my draft boards. I really want to see him in action and see what he's made of as a pass catcher. Matt Forte had great things to say about David Montgomery, and that's really got me interested. I mean, the Bears, they're so good at drafting running backs. Even Josh Howard looked good for his rookie season. Jordan Howard looked good for his rookie season. But, I mean, Matt Forte, Cedric Benson, who, rest in peace, by the way, Tariq Cohen. I feel like, who am I missing? Somebody else in the 2000s. That I'm missing is between that Matt Forte, it was either after or before the Matt Forte era. But the Bears are always good at drafting running backs, and I'm really liking David Montgomery. Depending on where the picks are, what round it is, I'm not going to reach for either one of those guys. It looks like Tariq Cohen's ADP is going a little bit more towards where I like it, 7th and 8th round. But if David Montgomery's falls that far too, then I'll snatch him up instead of Tariq Cohen.
Okay. Yeah.
David Montgomery, let's put it out there. He ain't no sleeper. He's off that sleeper radar. If anybody wants to know that. Because it's a given fact in numerous fantasy leagues I've been in that David Montgomery, the more as we get close to the more drafts you as you go, his stock keeps on rising, and he's getting drafted in these high rounds right now, and I still want to see what he can do on that field still. I mean, hopefully he turns out the way people are advertising him to be. And it's just sad, man. I feel bad for Tariq Cohen, man, because he had a solid and great year last season. And he, like, I mean, True talked about, people have forgotten about, Sony Michel and throwing him under the bus. What about Tariq Cohen, man? But if you ask me to choose, I'm choosing Cohen as of right now, man, because he's showed it and proved it on the field, and he's still a young player, and he has good upside. So I'm rolling with Tariq Cohen based off what I was able to see last year and with the chemistry he had with Trubisky. So I'm going with Cohen over Montgomery.
All right, we already know where I'm going with this. He's going to be David Montgomery, hands down. I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. He's him or Kyler Murray. So It's like, I mean, Cohen's cool. Another person like James White, I would definitely draft Tariq Cohen. I did draft Tariq Cohen in a few leagues. But if I can have one guy, I just think it's ridiculous. So I'm going with him. All right, guys. The Philadelphia Eagles. Who's going to be their guy? I'm hearing so many different things about the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know what to think.
It's Miles Sanders, man. There's no way. There's no way that Jordan Howard's beating him out for that job. The biggest thing that that I worry about is the timeshare, the split carries. The Eagles are not. They are not. One's Doug Peterson. He's not one to just give it to a bell cow and let him have 20 carries. That's just not his style. But Miles Sanders is pretty dang good, and they're saying he's a 3-down back. So he's the guy that I'm looking at, and he's the only Eagles running back that I'm drafting.
Yeah, I'm going with Miles Sanders also. Just remember, this was Saquon Barkley's replacement when Barkley left, and his speed, his elusiveness, the way this guy could explode in second year. I like Miles Sanders, man, and especially with these weapons that they have around, and he fits really well compared to Jordan Howard. So I'm going with Miles Sanders in this one, especially huge PPR points. Somebody who's interested in Miles Sanders.
Yeah, okay. So I disagree with both of y'all as far as this question is concerned. And I disagree with everybody out there that's telling me to draft anybody. I'm not drafting nobody off the Eagles team that plays running back. I don't trust none of them. To me, you say he's going to catch a lot of balls in the backfield. I don't even know about that. You still got Darren Sproles. You still got Wendell Small, who built an offense better than both of those guys. I know Peterson likes to get the ball to Sproles any way he can. I don't trust none of this. I'm not trying to draft none of these guys. But if I had to have one guy, I would actually go with Jordan Howard because I think he'll get the goal line touches because he's so big. But I'm not drafting any of them. I'm completely staying away from this team. The quarterback is cool to draft. The tight end is cool to draft. Maybe a receiver or two. But the running back, y'all can draft them. In the MBS League, I promise you, I would not draft the Eagles running back. Okay, let's go to the 49ers. What's up, guys? I'm hearing a lot of
Jared McKinnon. Jared McKinnon has never been on my radar. Ever. Jared McKinnon has never been on my radar. Okay, I'll say he was in my radar when he was with the Vikings and Adrian Peterson was hurt. That's the only time. And then it was, the guy couldn't beat out Toby Gerhart and Matt Asiata. Matt Asiata, Toby Gerhart, Jared McKinnon couldn't take the job from them when the Vikings job was open. Jared McKinnon's not that guy, and he's already been injured twice for a lengthy amount of the season. He was out. He's out all of last season. He's out 8 games this season already. That's 24. That's 24 games right there already. Am I doing my math right? There's no confidence in Jared McKinnon. Never gonna pick him up, draft him, trade for him, anything. Even if he's on the waivers, I'm not picking him up. It'll come around that 8th week. Kevin Coleman, I've always liked him with the Falcons, and I have shares in him. I like him, and I would draft him. That's the only one though. He's got RB2. He's got RB2 flex projections. He'll probably get 15, 17 carries, something like that, throughout the season. Matt Breida, really fast guy, and he will he'll steal a couple carries. But Tevin Coleman, I think, will be the main 2 to 3 down back. It'll be between those two. I like Tevin Coleman.
Yeah, yeah, Tevin Coleman. I'm going with that route. Also, Kyle Shanahan is familiar with him. Um, Coleman's familiar with Shanahan, the way he runs things there, especially that big year that Matt Ryan has. So I think Shanahan's going to utilize him the same way, but just a little bit more involved. Because when he was there, he had Devontae Freeman. So I like Tevin Coleman and what he possibly could do. I think this guy's stock can possibly rise in drafts moving forward. As of right now, he's like the last few running backs that people are starting to select as far as starters goes. So I'm going with Tevin Coleman in this one. A huge in PPR also.
No, I agree with everything both of y'all said. I don't have to even continue. Tevin Coleman, hands down. All right, I don't even know why that's even a question. Somebody asked me about that, so I just wanted to put it up there. All right, the Dolphins. Who y'all got? Because I hear both names come up. So who y'all got with the Dolphins?
I'm not picking any of those guys, but I've heard that Kenyon Drake is that guy. Kenny Balaj is not. What was it that I heard? That Kenyon Drake was still getting first team reps or something like that. Balaj is not. If I'm picking up a running back, I'll go with Kenyon Drake. He still has RB2. He'll never be an RB1, I don't think, but he has RB2 potential. And he'll be, but I'm staying away from that offense for the most part in general.
Yeah, I'm going with Kenyon Drake also, man, just based off of, the little success he was able to get last year. Now, he gets, more of a workload and more. I think he's going to get a lot of production with the Dolphins and their new coaching staff. So I expect Kenyon Drake to get more involved. Balaj, I think he'll still get, he'll be involved with the offense, but not just as much as Kenyon Drake. So I'm going with Drake.
Okay, I actually think it's going to be a time there, right down the middle. But I would go with Kenyon Drake just because I think he's more big play. If somebody's going to break one, an 80-yarder, it'll be Kenyon Drake. I think Kenyon Drake will also catch more balls in the backfield. I do think it's going to be a 50-50 split as far as who runs the football. They'll talk more about committing. So I'm with you guys. All right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is the one that I'm hearing the most rumbles about as far as besides the Patriots one.
Yeah. No confidence in Peyton Barber. Ronald Jones is a starter right now, but I don't know anything about his hands. I don't know anything about Ronald Jones's hands. And in that case, there's a third running back that I was hearing about. Looking for his name right now. I don't know if you guys know it. It's the third running back on their depth chart though. Bruce Anderson. Bruce Anderson, I heard, is an excellent pass catcher, and he could easily take the role if Ronald Jones doesn't look right. He's the mold of what Bruce Arians like. That Andre Ellington, Alfred Morris type running back. Just versatile, able to pass catch and fill all three roles for running back, blocking, running, and passing. Bruce Anderson might be the guy to stash away. I'm not as confident as I was in Ronald Jones last year.
Man, I'm rolling Ronald Jones, man. He's shown it on the field. I don't know much. I don't know. I've seen what Peyton Barber could do, and I'm just not convinced, man. And come on now, it's USC, man. So I'm definitely going to
exactly. Call it like it is.
Trojans, baby.
Obviously, both of these guys are USC fans, and we already know that that's why AT Delano Jones fight on. But I'm not drafting any of these guys unless it's like the end of the draft. But if I'm gonna draft the one, I don't even know. I'm gonna say Peyton Barber just because I like Peyton Barber. I think Peyton Barber was more talented at Auburn than Ronald Jones was at USC. And I don't care what these guys say. Peyton Barber can play ball. I just don't know what it is with this offense. It just doesn't work out for whatever reason. I don't like either guy though, but one of them should take over the role instead of them getting switched back to one of them. They're both young guys. Let's see which one of them can win this job and actually be a starting running back. Because the division that they're in, they should be able to run the football against the Saints. They should be able to run the football against the Falcons. And the Panthers are getting up there in age, so you should be able to run the football against them. If they can't do it this year, I'll never trust either one of them. So, but for me, I would take Peyton Barber just based off of preference. All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up with this one. The Washington Redskins.
Boy, that one I don't even have an answer for because I'm going to be honest. I haven't even looked at them. But they're guys, Adrian Peterson. I haven't watched them in preseason. I haven't paid attention to rumors or anything. I'll say Adrian Peterson because he looked great last year. He's probably staying in shape. I guess he still needs his job, and he's been working hard to stay in shape. And I mean, he did it last year. Didn't expect it, and I'll expect him to continue his performance. But I have no shares in any single Redskins player. I don't want a single one of them. None of them. Absolutely not. That's just terrible. That's a terrible squad, and I don't want any of their players.
Oh man! Thank you.
I'm definitely not rolling with Darius Geis in this one. Just based off of coming off from a ACL injury, I think that's going to be hard to overcome. I'm going with the safe pick, man. I don't like it, and I think he could be a huge steal in draft. But I would go with Adrian Peterson. He showed that he still got it in the preseason. Obviously, we've seen what he was able to do in the regular season, which was able to give them a new contract. So I like Adrian Peterson in this one. I think that's a safe pick. Am I confident about it? No, but I'm rolling with AP in this one.
Okay. I totally disagree with that. Oh, my God. There's no way on God's green earth I'm dropping Adrian Peterson this year. Oh, I did drop him last year. He had a pretty good year. Adrian Peterson does not catch the ball at the backfield at all. At all. Like, he's a straight running back. And they lost Trent Williams. He's not even playing. Like your best offensive lineman, you lost him, and now you expect Adrian Peterson to be good? Not at all. I'm going to draft Darius Geis so at least I can trade him, hopefully. Somebody will like him enough to trade for him. I'm not saying I think Darius Geis is going to be good, but I think he has more tradable. You can trade him. I don't know if you can trade him. I wouldn't take Adrian Peterson no deal. But I will tell y'all, I think Bryce Love can come into play here. He's somebody I'd probably draft and stash away for a little while and see on the back end if it works out. But I like Bryce Love and Darius Geis I would draft. I wouldn't draft Adrian Peterson. All right, guys. So the fantasy football question today on the Startem Sitem show is one that me and Keel talked about last week. Who is going to be the better fantasy wide receiver this year? DeAndre Hopkins or Julio Jones?
I'm going to say Julio Jones. That's who I'm taking. That's who my number one is. DeAndre Hopkins has been extremely consistent, the most consistent fantasy wide receiver out there. But I think Julio always has that bigger upside. Being in more of a pass-heavy offense, they're not as balanced. I like Julio better, and that's who I'll be rolling with as my number one wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm going with DeAndre Hopkins as this one. I don't like the Falcons' offense this season. Julio Jones, as you were able to see last season, it was hard for him to get into the end zone. He finally got into the end zone towards the end of the season or the middle of the season. And Hopkins, man, he's just one of the top receivers in the game. Consistent, great hands, one of the best route runners out there. And his fantasy numbers are just consistent every single year. And he had a touchdown reception yesterday in the preseason game. So I'm going with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I mean, I love Julio Jones. I can't league, so we could have kept two keepers. I actually had Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins on my team, and I kept DeAndre Hopkins and Zeke over Julio Jones. I just think that DeAndre Hopkins is on another level, man. That offense I trust more. I think that Deshaun Watson mixed in with Duke Johnson, Lamar Miller, Will Fuller. They just got a little bit more than I trust over Julio Jones. Julio Jones he's been mixed up a few times these last couple of seasons. So I'm going with DeAndre Hopkins. All right, guys. Well, we coming to the end of the show, and let's Kill wants to add a little special topic at the end. We can give our shout out. Kill, what you want to do?
Yeah, let's wrap up the show. We got time expiring right now, so wrap it up. I'll do the shout out. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to True. And shout out to everybody that comes and supports the show. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page where all the latest episodes are up. So besides that, we'll see you guys Tuesday on the Nothing But the NBS show.
Yeah, shout out to Keel for letting me know about the podcast today. Thanks for letting me know. Always going to be on this show, ready for next Tuesday. And I'm really ready to rock some fantasy football this year.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on this show, giving the insight. Actually, that's a good word. I'm not going to lie. Even though we don't have to running back, they actually made valid points on why it should go with that guy. So I can definitely respect it. NBS draft is coming. I hope we help you out with your draft as far as running back that you should do some teams that's kind of on the borderline. Next week, we'll talk more about fantasy football. Good luck with all your fantasy drafts this upcoming week. And we'll see y'all next week. It's been the Startem Show. I am sure.